Welcome to the Getting High on Leadership series featuring Paul Karasik. Paul is one of America's top management consultants helping leaders succeed. He is the author of 9 books, including Sweet Persuasion and Brilliant Thoughts and Provocative Questions. His insights appear regularly in major publications, and he is one of the most sought-after executive coaches. Paul founded the American Seminar Leaders Association and the Psychedelic Institute of Los Angeles. He is a popular speaker at national conferences and has been on stages across all 50 states and internationally. Paul's work addresses the question, how can we transform conflict in business into collaboration? With decades of experience in management, leadership, and psychedelics, he brings a unique perspective on personal and societal growth. In this series, we'll be discussing his latest book, Getting High on Leadership, The Leader's Guide to Higher Consciousness. We'll be exploring the concepts, techniques, and mindset required to revolutionize leadership. Enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Getting High on Leadership series. My name is Rob Sanchez, your host, and we are joined by Paul Karasik, the author of the book, Getting High on Leadership. Along our journey here through the book, we're going section by section, and today is one that definitely made me smile reading it, and that is The Monkey and the Cookies. A little bit of a break from the more maybe poetic sections that we've looked at before, and digging more into a narrative with a kind of a short story in this chapter. So, Paul, take it away, my friend. Where should we dig into this one?
Well, we geared off of last chapter. We talked about human nature and the fact that people do things for 2 reasons: to gain rewards or to avoid punishment. All human behavior stems from that.
Yes.
And now it's a matter of how much. What's fair, what's right, what's generous, what's too much. And this chapter, The Monkey and the Cookie Jar, and the cookies has to do with leaders in a position where, you can do a lot of self-serving in a leadership position. Would you agree?
Definitely. Yeah, I think the role does at times provide more opportunity for that than other roles on a team or within a family unit or personal project.
And where do we see this most? What's the reflection or the where this is exhibited most? And it's in politics. And so we see so many times where they have their hand in the cookie jar and they take too many cookies. And they're grabbing for too much. I had an accountant, no longer my accountant, but for many years, he knew when, if you grabbed too many cookies, you were going to get flagged. I said, well, can't I write off more of my office space? I'm using my home as my office. And he'd go like, no, you don't want to do that.
He was drawing the line somewhere.
He was drawing the line of what, how much cookies we could, take out of this IRS thing, he'd say, no, that's too greedy. That's too much. It's that, then that's what it is, not more and not less. And that's what it is. And would downplay, right? He knew the game, right? He was very, very CPA, the whole thing.
Always befriend your CPAs.
Right, right. Well, he was good. He was really good. I mean, but he knew the lines to draw. He knew, and it's a matter of how this chapter is about limiting that, like understanding, where does it end? When politicians get too greedy, that's when they get caught.
Yeah, how long will you extend this greed? Or if there were no restraints, if there were no CPA drawing the line, how long would you really go? What would you really write off? And it's in some situations, maybe it's as much as you possibly could, which is not going to fly well with audits and so on.
Right. Right. Yeah. And in this story, in this chapter, the monkey gets in trouble. And
definitely an audit of life.
Hmm. Yeah, and so the message here is really, it's pretty simple and it's short. The message is, one, understand the truth. You are in this leadership position for selfish, self-centered, self-absorbed goals, objectives. Accept it. Accept it. Whether you're Gandhi, whether you're Jesus, I know this may be, radical what I'm saying now. Uh, there's always some level.
Hmm.
Even if helping people gives you satisfaction, that satisfaction is self-absorbed, self-centered, and that's even the highest people, highest in terms of consciousness, will admit that. They'll say, I serve because it makes me feel good.
Hmm. There's a reason why they would have ascended that to
Yeah,
that level. Yeah, or
yeah,
been
because it
sort
just
of.
makes me feel good that when I serve, and I serve with consciousness, and when I serve with giving altruistically,
Hmm.
and so on and so forth, with caring, with compassion, there's a lot in it for me. And um, in this chapter, it's pretty, like you said, pretty cut and dry about, look, understand your limitations on when you're looking to get refunded, rewarded, reinstated, um, put
Recognized all the other things.
recognize, put some boundaries on it. Put
Yeah.
limitations on it. Don't be greedy. Um, One of the great leaders in business, historically or mythologically, is King Solomon. And King Solomon was like the richest person on earth. Which is, even by today's standards, he was worth a couple of trillion dollars, right? I mean, he had whole palaces built of gold.
Yeah,
You would,
to build those pillars of brass or something, you need some
yeah.
money.
I mean, this guy was really, he made Elon Musk and all these guys look like paupers. I mean, you're talking billions, he's talking trillions. Um, and his basic concept was always be generous, be fair, do the right thing. He never plundered. It wasn't like he had a bunch of marauders and they'd bring back the gold. He was a business person. He made his
Hmm.
money doing business. And he said the basic concept was to limit that monkey hand, that wants to go in there and just grab all the cookies,
Right.
to
You're getting one already. All right. You're getting one.
you can get one or
Be
two. Yeah.
satisfied. Yeah.
Yeah. Be sad, just get a couple, and yeah, whatever it is, but don't be greedy. That was one of his core concepts, King
Hmm.
Solomon, was to be fair, be generous, so people want to do business with you, do the right thing. It was never to plunder, to steal, to hurt, to be greedy. And look what it did. It built an empire based on
Right.
this very simple concept of be generous, be fair, do the right thing in business, in life. It's not just business, it's in life. It's how you create your reputation, right? It's through, doing the right thing. And that is invaluable. That reputation is what creates trust, and trust is the most valuable thing in every interaction, business or
Definitely.
otherwise.
It's
So,
it's a precarious position that taking a leadership role puts you in giving you the opportunity to have no limitations.
it's
So
so
you really do need to be aware of it yourself because I mean, unless you have very close juniors, aides, or assistants, or
mm-hmm,
someone who's helping you
mm-hmm,
that really sees the full picture, you may
mm-hmm,
be the only one that can
mm-hmm,
limit those
mm-hmm.
those kind of monkey hand intentions or
Yeah,
kind of human elements that can get in the way or sometimes drive you a
exactly.
little too strong.
Exactly. It's a tough position, and that's why these politicians get it. Can you imagine how many inside deals and every politician is exposed to on a daily basis? I mean, he or she knows where the money's going, where the next deal will be, the companies that are going to grow as a result of the things they're doing. I mean, it's you know,
It's quite a scheme
I can't
to manage.
imagine anybody, any of those monkeys not trying to grab too many cookies. You
Yeah,
know,
it's just you're watching them go by on the conveyor belt, right? And
and
might as
they,
well grab one, I guess,
they
eventually. Who's
well
going to
they
know?
yeah, they grab 5 or 10, and then they get in
Yeah,
trouble because
right. Oh, so
they
because if
could.
you grab one, maybe nobody does know. But then if you grab the whole unit, they're coming for you.
Well, they, I'm just saying it's hard to resist your own human nature to be greedy, to want more than's right your fair share,
Yeah.
and to really be conscious in this. Like you said, if nobody was watching you, it's easy to get off track and
Right.
demand too much. Um,
And it's the
and I
tragedy
and
of the commons, right?
mm,
It's kind of like a maybe a little bit of a derivation of the tragedy of the commons, where like if everyone can fish, but you're only allowed to take 2 fish in the community, eventually someone's just going to overfish because they're going to think that if they don't do it, someone else will. So they better start fishing a lot, and they're going to get 100, and then someone else will get 100, and then the pond will dry up,
yeah,
and there won't be any fish for anyone.
hmm I think just being reasonable, you know, being reasonable on deals, on situations, on what you expect back from any of your workers in leadership. Um,
Yeah.
just keeping keeping that under check. Because in the last chapter, we said it's perfectly all right to want attention, to want money, to want position, to want power, to want the things that leadership can do. And now in this chapter, we're reflecting and saying, yeah, that's all right, but just keep it a little bit under
To a
control.
degree. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you're gonna suffocate yourself. And in this story, we see, that it really had a bad ending
I think
with
it's
that.
also a good tool because you could look at any conflict you're trying to resolve. Let's say the tigers from the previous episode. You've got an obstacle and you're trying to solve that or trying to heal something within your team. And now you see, maybe you can tell when something feels like, why would somebody do this? Or why would this employee do that? Maybe you're seeing now that that's an instance where they have their hand stuck in the jar. And it gives you that ability to maybe try to lead through that or make some suggestions to just
That's true.
to
Yeah.
survive it. Yeah.
No, great point, Rob. That other people are, even if you're not grabbing too many cookies, one of your team members might be one of the
Recognize
people.
that everyone's struggling with the same
Yeah,
the same draws.
yeah. No, that's an excellent point. And that's the challenge of leadership is where are the limits? Where, what's the fair amount on this situation?
It definitely a challenge, but also as you know, I mean, solving these problems as an agile coach and working on like team dynamics, there is some fun or some like intrinsic value in just trying to solve some of these things or just trying to mitigate them. I think
Mm-hmm.
there's some
Mm-hmm.
reward or maybe some pleasure. We're saying that all the human actions boil down to that. You can get some pleasure or intrinsic value from just solving a problem or keeping a fire from spreading
Yeah.
across the company or within the company.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, as we go through this book and as people become more conscious of these elements, it becomes easier to implement all this stuff because it's not linear. It's
Yeah,
it's it's big rocks that kind of keep flowing through this whole consciousness exploration element. But this is just, this chapter, just to put a little pin on it, is about watch to your point, watching other people, keeping them within that range of what's right, what's fair, for personal gain in any way, and then what's right, what's fair about yourself. And I think leaders need advisors. I played that role many times for leaders, but every leader needs other advisors that they can reflect some of the stuff off of. And that's, as far as you like action steps, I know that's an action step.
hey, lay him on me.
Yeah, no, but it's true. I mean, that's the real action step, is surround yourself with people that understand the challenge of limiting people's desires, outcomes for their own personal gain, limiting and controlling and addressing and being aware of your own selfish, self-centered outcomes that you're looking for. It's not about legal, it's about what's the right thing to do, what's fair, where you profit, they profit, everybody, the enterprise moves forward. And, it helps to have people to talk to about these things, both when it's members of your team and your own self. Great leaders need great advisors. And if you're an advisor, I remember I had a team of people in working for a big financial company, and they all wanted to be coaches, top guys. And I said, how many of you guys have coaches? And nobody raised their hand. And I thought, let me get this right. So you want to be a coach, but you don't believe in coaching enough to have a coach, or you're above coaching, and it was like a moment, a room of silence. I mean,
yes,
that type of thing. So we need people to advise us on this stuff. And
don't lead in a vacuum, right? I think that's a wonderful way to sum it up.
No, have people around you that you can depend on to give you good feedback on things like this, about cookies in particular. What's too many cookies? What's not enough cookies? The cookie question.
Yeah. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Getting High on Leadership series. If you have any questions, you can comment below or send them in via email to paul@paulkarasik.com. Follow him on Instagram at PK_theconversation. Find out more at wholesalerinstitute.com and psychedelic-awakening.com. The Getting High on Leadership series is produced by Rob Sanchez and Apartment 113, which can be found at apartment113.com and followed on Instagram at APT_113.